I see often, I see a lot of stuff where people talking about awakened women and a conscious man will, and and I want to get your perspective, and I have my perspective, so I'm going to share. Is like sometimes we're creating this person who is like up high, and we're saying they do all these things, making them seem quite flawless in some sort of state of perfection. And then what I see quite a lot is people then latching on to said content and stuff, and then projecting themselves into being in that place. You know, like someone's talking about awakened women, and then the women in the comment section are like, oh my God, I'm an awakened woman. I can't wait until I meet my conscious man. And then, you know, but there's none of them around. And I guess my gripe with it is a bit like, but are you really up there? Or you are fantasizing about being yourself? Or are you so self-aware that you are unaware of your own blind spots and your own ways of being dysfunctional?
It's unattainable. Yeah, that level of self-awareness, it's unattainable. Like you would be flawless. You'd be in a cave meditating for 14 years. And then the other challenge you've got with that is being absolutely socially stunted because you've never spoke to anyone. You know, it's not real. It's unattainable. People have asked me this question before, like, because my name on Instagram is Conscious Man. And, you know, like, oh, you think you're a conscious man? I said, well, I do think I'm a conscious man. I don't think I'm the conscious man. Like, I'm above you and I've got all the answers. I certainly don't have all the answers. I've got a few and you're welcome to have them. You can have them for free. They're gifts. You know, I was gifted them by someone else or something happened to me, and they're gifts. You can have them. A conscious man or an authentic man is someone who knows he's got flaws. He's constantly working on himself, who comes back to, you know, like, let's say I'm going out into the world and try and be stoic. But I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to lose myself to a passion at some point. I'm only human. As long as I come back to that place where it's not too detrimental, but I realize that, like, I'm not perfect and I'm still working on myself. And that's the best way to help other people, is to be one step ahead, number one, because you can't teach someone if we're in the same place, but also knowing that, like, there's still work to do. That's a conscious man. That's an authentic man. I don't think this awakened movement, you know, there's a lot of, people who are ascended masters and such as that, but I think it's fugazi. I think it's like people looking at these people as gurus, and it's not the time of the guru. You know, there's been that time, right? It's the time of the inner guru where you really take a look at yourself in the mirror and be accountable, and that's what's important. Accountability leads to authenticity. Always accountability leads to being more conscious. Definitely.
Yeah, no, I really agree with you. It's like me and my partner have this joke sometimes, is that to be conscious, you need to acknowledge that there's parts of yourself that you're completely unconscious of, and that they will rear their head at any given moment. And then suddenly that label you have of being conscious suddenly disappears and will continually cyclically disappear, because suddenly you become aware of this aspect of yourself or this thing that you're doing to other people that you didn't even realize you're doing because it looked different to you. And that there's no hill to kind of get up onto and go, I'm now conscious and I'm awakened. This kind of constant process of, I've used a word that you've used quite a few times, of constant humbling, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And because otherwise we get into kind of spiritual ego of like, oh, I have reached the pinnacle and I am aware. I'm self-aware. I know myself. That phrase, I really fucking hate when people say that to me. Not maliciously, but sometimes when people go, well, I know myself.
Yeah.
And I'm always a bit like, really? Do you?
Well, it's
I don't know myself.
No.
I'm not trying to claim I do.
you know some of yourself, and what you know about yourself can be flipped on a penny at any given moment, right? And it's like, you're like, oh, actually, maybe I didn't know myself at all. But it's the relearning over and over again. I think the thing is as well is that, like, it's like time is it's not linear in the sense of knowing yourself. You know, it's like you might know this version of yourself at this time, and then you maybe might be learning a new version of yourself. You know, like this, we were talking about fatherhood before. You know, I was a certain person until I reached having a baby and being a father. And now I'm a whole new person, and I'm just learning to get used to that guy there. And now this guy's having to step into the role of a father and teach and be more, have softer edges than he had before. And it's like you constantly learn about yourself. To say you're an ascended master of anything is to probably rub up life the wrong way. You know, you're not at seek with where you are, because if it was attainable, then we'd all be doing it, right? You know, we'd all be ascended, and there'd be some guy levitating on top of a hill, and we'd be like, I'm like him. you know, it's not a thing.
Yeah. And I guess a question for you, I'm interested to hear, is like, what do you see as the kind of pitfalls for a man who is on the path of increasing his consciousness and awareness?
I think you've got to cure lust. Number one, like, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you've got to cure lust. Like, lust is, for a man, it feels like it's I can't think of a better term of phrase, but it feels like it's in your loins, right? It feels like you're driven by that, and you've got to pursue it, like you've got to hunt for it. And if you can't control that, your relationships will fail as a result, 100%. You know, you've got to control that. And even in the spiritual community, you know, it's easy to get wrapped up in like, you're a teacher, a leader, whatever you may be, a breath worker, and that the opportunity is there, you know, but you've got to tie a knot in that and let that be done. And I think, like you said about the spiritual ego, it's very easy to start thinking that you're better than everyone else because you do have a practice. You know, I actually did a post about it the other day, and I was saying there's no uniform to spirituality. There's no lingo you need to speak. There's no one's more spiritual than you. No one's less spiritual than you. No one's doing better because they do more of a practice than you. You know, like it's actually realizing that, like, I believe spirituality is about helping yourself and helping those around you, and that's what's important. That's integral to spirituality, and that's all really that matters in the grand scheme of it.
Yeah. There's a big pitfalls there, you know, like you said, pen's gone. Lust, and then, you know, I heard what you said there was like spiritual ego, you know, where that is, you know, there's so much of this now, and this isn't necessarily me as a criticism to spiritual communities, because they serve me wonderfully in many ways, but there is definitely a look of how people are creating a look of being spiritual, and that becomes part of their persona, that becomes part of their business, that becomes part of the person they need to be in the world to be seen. And then they do the things, they do the trappings, they get the tattoos, they wear the clothes, they wear the brands, you know, they do the plant medicines, all in this to keep this ego / persona upkept, which is almost the antithesis of what it means to kind of be more conscious, because you stop being aware and you're actually holding up another mask, and you've just switched your old mask for a new one.
Yeah, you've become part of the scene. We call it the White Linen Club. Like, in a lovely gown, with some beads, and like, you know, I mean, I can attest to the tattoos and stuff. You know, I could say I was probably there myself at one point, to tell the truth. You know, I sort of went down the plant medicine route and started doing the plant medicine. And I was in the Shipibo gear when I did ayahuasca and stuff, and I had to take a step back and be like, actually, this isn't for me. You know, like I'm quite all right, but I haven't touched plant medicine for maybe 2 years. I probably will go and have some mushrooms every now and again. You know, I won't lie. You know, I feel like they're good levelers, they're good humblers as well. But trying to get involved in a scene, you know, it's easy to get to snowball into something, and before you know it, you're lost in it. And it, again, back to that humility over and over and over again. Come back to yourself. Come back to that meditation. Come back to that place where you're really coming back to your own mind and deciding what's right for you.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll add in one that kind of leaps to my mind now about the pitfalls of becoming a conscious man. That I see a lot is the kind of intellectualization of patterns and wounds. So it's where we learn all the stuff, we learn all the words, we learn all the language, we learn like about the shadow and our shadow and the wound we have and our mother wound, our father wound, and we've intellectualized it so much and it makes us feel like we're doing something about it, but actually we're doing nothing. We're just talking about it constantly. We just know all the information, the books, the podcasts, the people, and it's just this big intellectual layer that sits above anything, you know, huge gap between the actual embodiment of this teachings and learnings.
But we talk about the work all the time. Like, we're always talking about the work. It's another lingo thing where it's like, oh, you're doing the work. I'm doing the work. We're all doing the work together. And there's always this thing especially in the plant medicine community, like the work never ends. Well, some things should end. The work should end in some areas of your life, you know, like should put a pin in something and be like, I've solved that part of myself. You know, it might rear its ugly head every now and again, but I've done my best to resolve that part of myself. And it's so true. So true. And like you say, there's a wealth of information and knowledge out there. You can just access it any time. But when it comes to it, really, the truth of the matter is unless you look at yourself in the mirror and go, these are the things I must work on and I must act, or you will just be on the hamster wheel, man, going round and round.
Yeah.